Hey guys, welcome in. It is Brad with College SportsCast. John Hammonds and I are here tonight with you, and we are going to bring you our Week 42, Season 2 Big Fuss Show.
We executed.
I heard a fan offer free Dippin' Dots if I blew it.
Wanted to have some fun, execute.
I had bombs.
Stay as a team, execute, give 100%.
Dippin' Dots sound good.
All right, guys, looks like I forgot to switch up the weekend wrap-up show with the Big Fuss Show there. But, it is what it is. All right. But we are doing the Big Fuss Show here tonight. I have John Hammonds on here with me. What's up, Hammonds?
What's up, man?
So I have been starting these shows talking about Facebook. I do not have the comments up tonight. We are recording this show. I will say that off the top. So if you are watching with us, this show is recorded tonight. I can't do it a little later, so we are recording this one. But right off the top, we are growing tremendously on Facebook. Would love to grow on YouTube as well and get it up and going as well as Facebook is. But if you are on with us on Facebook, you can now help support us by sending us stars. Sending us stars helps us earn money to continue to make more content for you guys. Or you can also subscribe to our Facebook page now. There is a special subscription page that I post things on. Sometimes it's little insider info things, and I post our shows and different things on for you guys on that. It is only 99 cents a month. That's the bargain of the century, 99 cents a month. But it does help support us and help continue to make content for you guys here at College Sportscast. So wanted to talk about that and get that off from the very beginning here. So John, I want to talk about something that's popped up here today, and we're going to talk about some college football topics to start with here. The first one that I want to bring up tonight with you, John, is that Jaden Rashda is suing Billy Napier and a Florida booster. And we're not talking about pennies here, guys. $13.85 million. And throw this in before you respond, John. Supposedly, Billy Napier himself personally guaranteed and promised that Rashda would receive a $1 million signing bonus for signing the contract. This was all done under contract, signed contract, and the Rashdas got nothing out of this deal. What do you think about what's happening here? I think the deal, me and you talked about it a long time ago, year and a half ago when it happened. The deal was ridiculous when it happened. But you can't renege on a signed contract.
No, this is the problem that I've been telling everybody with the whole NIL, the landscape of college football in the wild, wild west. Having all these commitments, and then you back out on one, and then the guy doesn't get the money that he's supposed to get, and then it gets everybody twisted into different ropes, and it's just it's a mess. And if they don't fix the NIL situation, and I'm not saying that nobody deserves NIL. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, it has to have some kind of cap on it to where it has to be set.
This is a high school kid. He was still in high school when this was going on. And he signed with Florida. He was promised $1 million by Billy Napier to sign with Florida. And he did.
Well,
he signed with Florida.
Another thing, Florida
and then the booster offered him $13.85 million over 3 or 4 years in a signed contract.
Jake Crane made a post earlier today. If anybody don't know who Jake Crane is, he's Crane Company. He made a tweet.
Daily Wire.
He said, "What recruit is worth $14 million?"
I don't like, but here's the deal. What I'm saying here, listen, these lawsuits, the NCAA and these schools have been losing their ass in these lawsuits.
Yeah.
And the reason why is this is a written contract.
Yeah, money is being given up front, and then, no, money hasn't been. You're signing a contract, let's just say, and then.
But in the court of law, a signed contract is legit.
It is.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't care if you offer them $10. If you have a signed contract, they could technically sue you for $10.
Yeah, when you sign that contract, that money should go to them. Like, it's a commitment thing. And this is what happened with this. I'm sure this whole Rashada thing with Billy Napier is not going to be the only thing going on with Florida. There's going to be other schools that have this problem. But Florida's in the news now. And even last June, Florida was under investigation on this. And, Florida probably thought, hey, you know what? We're off the hook now. And, well, guess what? That lawsuit that has come right back into their face and hit them right in the face again. And they're back in the news again.
My question to you, John, is Billy Napier in real trouble here?
I wouldn't say he's in real trouble over this, but he's in real trouble over the way the program's been gone the last, couple of years?
2 years.
They've lost to Kentucky, 2 years in a row? They've not been able to really agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
They've not really been able to compete with the big schools like, now Tennessee's getting better, Missouri's getting better. Florida is a football school. We all know that.
I know that this is not going to be the deciding factor, but him making a guarantee personally himself a promise to this kid to sign with Florida, and he'd give him $1 million and didn't do it.
Don't look
and
good.
is now getting sued over it. Is definitely a black eye on top of having 2 losing seasons and everything else.
And the fact that, like I said, I was going to say Florida is a football school. I know that, Steve Spurrier's not walking through the door in Gainesville. But at the same time, Florida should be better than what
Meyer?
Well, and Urban Meyer. Florida should be better than what has been given the last 3 to 4 years. They shouldn't be in this predicament. Florida's a really good football school. And
Dan Mullen don't look so bad anymore.
He don't. He really don't. And I hate to say this, and I know Florida fans will probably agree, and there'll be some that don't, but Florida basketball kind of overtook the football program.
I mean,
I wouldn't.
look,
I wouldn't say
their
completely.
2024 schedule, John, is the toughest schedule in the country.
Now, would I say that it's taken over completely? No. But since Todd Golding has come into Gainesville, Florida's basketball program's putting it together. And
football has had back-to-back losing seasons for the first time in maybe ever. First time in my 45 years.
And I will say this: Florida football is not known for that. They're not.
I mean, I don't know. If you go back 50, 60 years, maybe they've had back-to-back losing seasons. I don't know. But
I mean, I remember a time when Florida dominated the landscape of college football.
They'd get 11, 12, 13 wins every year.
Every year, yeah.
Every year.
So, I mean, there's a lot of problems in Gainesville right now. I mean, this is a black guy, plus Napier. So,
yeah, I mean, absolutely. I got to ask you this. This is kind of tied to football. It's kind of tied to basketball. But I wanted to bring this up. You got Florida State that has been unhappy in the ACC, it seems like, for, 17 years now. But it's really been about 17 months, I think. But it seems like it's been for absolute ever. You got Clemson that's now followed suit. You got North Carolina that is making statements. The president, the dean, whoever it was a week or two ago was making statements about leaving the ACC. Is the ACC about to fully collapse?
I think in the next 2 to 3 years, yes. I mean, you're probably going to lose some of the bigger schools like Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, probably to the SEC. And from there, where do you put the Miamis and the Virginias? Like, there's been rumors where maybe Miami goes.
And I don't understand some of these conferences that are like, well, just go to the Big 12. Well, the Big 12 is going to have 16. I don't understand these 20, 24. Somebody had a Big 12 conference with 32 teams in it. Come on now. How do you have a Big 12 conference with 32 teams?
I will say this about that whole Power 5 situation. It's going to get it to a point where there's just going to be a bunch of power leagues, and it might reach that pinnacle.
Is the Big 12 the NFL now, or what?
That's where we're going with this. If it don't get no better, it's going to reach a point to where we're playing like the NFL. And to be honest, you'll lose a lot of fans that way. You'll lose a lot of college football fans.
I don't even understand scheduling now, John. I don't understand how these conferences with 16, 18, 20 teams can possibly keep up with scheduling now.
Well, and then you got
teams like Florida State and Clemson who in the ACC are trying to force the ACC's hand here. But what I'm saying is where do they go? And I know everybody says, well, the Big Ten and the SEC. The Big Ten's already got 18 teams. How many teams do people think the Big Ten is actually going to want to pick up?
I think there's probably two. And the two that probably I would go after would be Virginia and maybe NC State. It just depended on, bringing that Big Ten market, TV market into the ACC territory in the North Carolina.
Where does Florida State go? Because I don't think the SEC wants them.
I don't either. But if it's for football, yes. Now, basketball, Florida State's probably going to be.
I'm telling you, I do not believe that the SEC will offer Florida State. I just don't. I haven't. I've never believed it. And until I see something way more concrete, I do not believe. Now, Clemson has an outside shot, but in In
Probably
my
have a
opinion,
chance.
the SEC wants Virginia and North Carolina. It's the only two schools in the South they don't have.
Yeah. But I could see Virginia.
Wait a second. It's the only two states in the South that they don't have.
But I could see Virginia going to a place like Big 12, because here's the thing that I say with this whole Virginia thing. Virginia might do good in basketball, but on the football side of things, they'd be left behind in the dust.
I mean, Virginia's got a decent football.
Fair, but it's not. They're probably going to be They're probably going to be in the last six of the SEC, because they're not going to compete with the Georgias, the Alabamas, the LSUs.
Yeah, but you could always go get Virginia Tech and not Virginia. I'm saying you want the state of Virginia is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's another power team that you could probably slide in there.
They're the ACC right now. Virginia Tech is.
Yeah, so Virginia Tech would be a better situation for football than it would be for basketball.
You could also, you could go get Virginia Tech I'm saying that I think the SEC wants Virginia and North Carolina as a state. Okay.
Yeah.
Because the SEC has always added markets.
But see, here's the issue that I have with all this realignment. Some of these schools are going, I wouldn't say collapse, but a lot of them are not going to be able to compete at the basketball level like they would with the football level.
Well, let me ask you this. Along with the ACC collapsing, okay, I want to throw this in here, because this is something I want to kind of talk together about. And you've got Oregon State and Washington State, who has done a lot of steps pretty nicely to try to have some money to possibly revive the Pac-12.
Yeah, they got the TV deal.
At the same time here, the ACC seems like they might be falling apart. Well, this year, you've got SMU joining the ACC. You've got Cal and Stanford, who are Pac-12 schools, set to join the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
If you were Oregon State and Washington State and you had control here of the Pac-12 and you're trying to rebuild the Pac-12, do you give SMU, California, and Stanford a call and be like, hey, man, the ACC looks like they're on their last leg. How about you come back and join us?
I think I would. Because then here's where it gets interesting, is where you bring these teams back to the Pac-12, teams that you didn't think would win those, you had the UCLAs, you had the Oregons, you had those guys winning constantly about every year, going to the Pac-12 championship. It would bring some kind of awesome ratings to the fact that you might have some new teams in there and that you could bring them to the forefront of the college football and see them compete instead of competing against the tougher teams.
Cal and Stanford, let's be honest, Stanford, and most people don't know this, okay? Stanford is one of the top collegiate athletic schools in the country. It has nothing to do with football and basketball. They are the Olympic sports leader, and it's not even close. It's not even close. And here's the deal. Most of those Olympic sports are going to have an awful hard time flying across country every time they're supposed to play a game and have a match.
Well, imagine what UCLA and USC is going to deal with this year. They're going to have to play a game in November.
They have a little bit more money than Stanford and Cal.
Oh, I'm not saying that, but now they're going to have to go to a place in November where it's cold, whereas they would play somewhere out in the West where it would be warm and you know.
I'm just looking at this as a whole. And if I was Oregon State and Washington State, I'd be giving them 3 schools. I know SMU is in Texas, but SMU has always wanted a Power 5 conference. They have been trying for 35, 40 years. All right.
Yeah. Says the guy.
They just get an invite into the ACC, and now the ACC looks like it's about ready to be on its last damn leg.
Says the guy that who Eric Dickerson's his favorite running back of all time. I mean,
absolutely. I've been following SMU for a long time.
Yeah. The Pony Express. The Pony Express.
I loved it when I was a kid. Absolutely. Eric Dickerson is my all-time favorite running back. That is a true story.
Yeah.
All right. But SMU has been trying to get in big boy football for a long time. They just get an invite. They are scheduled to go this fall. And now it looks like the ACC might be on its last leg. If I was Oregon State and Washington State, I'm calling SMU, California, and Stanford and being like, look, here's what we can offer you for the time being. We're going to put the Pac-12 back together again. We want you guys. Texas and SMU would be a great addition for the Pac-12. Bringing Cal and Stanford back would be great. And I'm going to be honest with you. I would pick and choose. I'm going to go through this for a little bit here.
You said Texas. You meant Stanford.
Stanford and California.
you meant Texas. Texas and SEC now.
No, not Texas. Stanford, California, SMU. SMU's in Texas is what I meant to say.
SMU's in Texas, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So if I'm them, I pick and choose a few of these really good teams out of the Mountain West. I go with Boise State out of the Mountain West, probably San Diego State because they're good in basketball and can be in football. UNLV.
Well, and then what you do on the basketball side of things is you put San Diego State into a Power 5 that they've always wanted to go to. And
right.
Now,
they've never had a Power 5. And then it went to then you can go to the AAC, okay? Because you got SMU, you can go to the AAC and you can pick off Memphis, who's never got to go to a power conference. Okay. You've got South Florida. When everybody else in Florida is now a power conference, South Florida, I'm sure would love to.
FAU would be another.
FAU would be another one out of the AAC.
Because their football program done really well when they had Kiffin.
Tulane hired the Kentucky guy, great coach. Got the same name as you, spelt just like you.
John, yeah.
Yeah. You could form a conference here with these teams that would be pretty formidable. I'm not saying they're all out west. What you do is you have a West Coast conference and you have an East Coast division.
Well, and then what you would have is out of those Pac-12s. Now, I'm not saying that they would go to the college football playoff, but at the same time, some of those schools that, that haven't had that, real feel of being a top team in a conference. Now, all of a sudden, you get a team like Cal that hasn't been to a place in a long time. They end up going to the Rose Bowl because you brought the program. You brought the
think with Stanford. Stanford's had some really good football teams over the years. Here and there.
It would give some of these teams that are not real big in the spotlight a big chance in the spotlight to make some noise.
Look what Boise State could do. What they've done in the power conference. Without a power conference.
Even, we go as far as back to, 2007 when they played in the Fiesta Bowl against Oklahoma. In one of the biggest games maybe one of the best games in this college football BCS era.
I'm telling you, I think this Pac-12 could be revived, but you've got to do it. And I think
and you
they've got to move fast.
You got to be able to do it the right way too. You can't. You just got to figure out which teams that need to be there and which teams can afford the money to slide in there and say, you know what?
I'm telling you right now, if it was me, I would swoop back into the ACC and give Cal, Stanford, and SMU a call, and I would be right there. UTSA has been really good in football the last 4 or 5 years. They're in the AAC.
Now, some of the problems you would have though in some of these team schools is some of it would be the NIL on some of this, because now moving to a power conference would be great and all, but you're going to have help with the NIL and the fan base. The fan base is going to have to get involved too with all this.
Well, this settlement is probably going to help them out.
Yeah. So,
I mean, when it comes to that, anyway. All right. So before we move off of football, in season we usually do a pick six section segment, and we hadn't done one for a while. I wanted to look ahead. Somebody was telling me, it was on Twitter, we had a little bit of a debate. Somebody was telling me that there's basically only 2 top shelf quarterbacks in college football next year.
mm-hmm.
And it got me thinking, who would be your top 6? Who would be a pick 6? Who would be your top 6 QBs for the upcoming season? Is there really only – because I tell you what, it was around the draft, and somebody was telling me that they thought that there would only be 2 quarterbacks picked in the first round next year.
So
do you think that that's possible? Because I mean, usually there's 4 or 5.
I think it's possible, but this group next year, to me, there's maybe 2 or 3 guys that are really good, and the rest are great, and then there's 2 or 3 that's just pretty good, and then there's just a few that's under the radar. And
I mean, the guy that was debating this with me said that it's clearly Beck and Sanders at Colorado.
I would disagree. I would disagree on Sanders. I like Sanders, but I feel like he still has a long ways to go in terms of a prospect.
You don't think he is a most likely first rounder next year?
I think he's towards the end of the first round. Just if he stays healthy and I think and keeps progressing the way he has, he should be one of the top quarterbacks on the board for 25. You know, I don't know. It ain't because, and I know people's probably going to think, I know that you're not picking him because of Dion. That has nothing to do with it. I just think there's better guys in front of him that are better than him. Physically gifted, you know. That's not to say that Shadur is not great, because he is. There's just so many other guys out in front of him that's going to be picked before he is. But
NFL draft, thinking about it, I threw out a third guy that I think will be a first rounder. I threw out Ewers from Texas.
Yeah, Ewers is one that I'm looking very closely at. And you got Carson Beck. I even think Jalen Milroe will get a
Sanders are the 2 that he threw out. He thought they were going to be the only 2 first rounders.
And I even think Jalen Milroe will get a look.
As a first rounder?
Well, yeah. Because you look at it, look where he's going into. He's going from,
I got a question. What about Dylan Gabriel?
Dylan Gabriel's another one. And I'll give you one that's underrated that people are not talking about, and that's Noah Fafita from Arizona. He last year, he was really not a known quarterback. And he
He
finished,
wasn't when the season started. They had somebody else starting.
They had. I think they had. I can't remember. Was it Jaden?
3 names.
It was Jaden Delora, I think.
Yeah, that's who it was.
Yeah, that's who it was.
Right.
And
yeah,
and now he's going to be even more recognized because he's going into the Big 12, right? So they nearly pulled the upset of Washington and USC as him under quarterback. And from mid-October on, they never lost again.
I'm going to throw out a name here that I think everybody in the damn country has completely forgot about. Okay?
Yep.
And when I say this name, you're going to be like, oh, how could we forget about this dude? Cameron Bad Moon Rising.
Yeah, but the problem with Cameron is, can he stay healthy?
Listen, if that dude comes back and plays ball like he can, I think he's one of the top quarterbacks in college football.
Yep.
I personally, if he can come back healthy, if he plays like he did 2 years ago, I personally would take him over Sanders from Colorado.
I'll tell you another one I would take is Jackson Dart. And I say this to say,
I had
with
to say
Jackson
Bad
Dart,
Moon Rising on it because it's my favorite.
You got to think who Jackson Dart has coming back with him. He's got Trey Harris, Jordan Watkins. He's got Caden Prescorn. I think they combined for 270-something yards in the Peach Bowl. Now, Judkins did leave for Ohio State, but the Rebels, I think they did return some talent at that position. This is the first year, probably maybe since Lane Kiffin has got there, that they're looking at possibly being in the mix for the college football playoff. And
they are, for sure.
They got the talent now.
But there's 12 teams. If it was a 4-team thing, I'm not sure that people would think that they with 12 teams, in all honesty, Ole Miss is good enough. They should get in.
They're going to be one of those. And now, does it happen? Because we've seen what happens when Lane Kiffin gets into a big contest. They fall apart. Alabama last year. Some of the big games, it seems like they don't come to play. But can they finally get over that hump and figure it out and do what everybody says they can't do? And Ole Miss is going to be a good watch this year. They're going to be fun to watch.
I agree with you. Jackson Dart is going to be right there. Does a guy like Brock Vandagriff, honestly, with Kentucky, does he have a chance to be in that top 6, top 8?
I think he's got a chance to be in the top 15. I mean, anytime you get a 5-star quarterback from Georgia, I mean, that's pretty good.
And that's why I'm asking, because he literally was the 4th overall quarterback in a class that was just drafted a lot.
Well, and you give him the weapons that he's going to have, like Berrien Brown, Dane Key. He's going to have an opportunity to make some plays. Macklin. They're going to be pretty good. And, there's so many quarterbacks, so many running backs.
It's going to come down to that offense and the new offensive coordinator.
It bases to that, in my opinion, what they show at the offensive coordinator position. Because last year, it just
pace of play For God's sakes.
I'm going to say this about Liam Cohen. I don't have any reason to drown the man because, he came to Kentucky at a time that he needed to do what's best for him and his family. But since he came back, he just wasn't the same that he was when he first got there.
He wasn't.
There
That's
was
not what kills me is pace of play.
It's changed in college football.
Oh my God!
See, here's the thing that most people don't understand about pros and college. Pros, everybody's good every single week. College, you have a team that's probably great all the time. Then you have a team that, say, like a Max school, that's not going to be great during that game. They might have a couple of guys that are really good, but they're not going to have an overall great team because they're just not that good in particular. Now, in pros, you have teams that are good every Sunday. Anybody can beat anybody on any given Sunday. But in college, you're not going to have a team like that every single Saturday.
Right.
And that's, to me, the biggest difference in college football. And the game is a lot faster in college football, I think, than it is in the pros.
Not for Kentucky. Lord.
Well, I mean, for some schools it is.
I mean,
it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad last year. It was.
It was beyond bad. I mean, I'm talking like if you would have given them an extra 10 seconds on the play clock, I don't even think they could have got the play off half the time. Like it was beyond bad.
Yeah.
All right. So I threw out some quarterbacks. I had to mention Cameron Rising because not a soul, nobody mentions him. He's never talked about, and he was a bad man 3 and 2 years ago, both years. Won the Pac-12 conference back-to-back years, by the way, until he got hurt. And he's missed the entire year. That's the reason why everybody seems to have forgot about him. Okay, so let's get to an update on the SEC baseball tournament. It started this morning. The morning session is done. It started with number 6, Georgia, taking on number 11, LSU. LSU has been one of the hotter teams. They only had 3 wins halfway through the SEC regular season. They wound up with 13. So, they've won 10 of the last 15 games leading up to this in the SEC, which is a tough deal to do in the SEC. And they pounded number 6 Georgia today. This is an elimination game. The first round here is single elimination. LSU moves on to play Kentucky in the morning as the 3 seed. Ironically, LSU is the team that put Kentucky out of the NCAA tournament last year. So their last postseason game was against LSU in a loss, a tough loss, by the way. But LSU goes on to win it all last year, and now their first postseason game this next year is going to be against LSU. And LSU has two really good pitchers.
They got Tommy White.
One of them pitched today. And they have Tommy White. Tommy Tanks is back at LSU. And yes, that's his name. That's his nickname, Tommy Tanks.
Yep.
He has, I think I've seen 64 home runs in his career. He helped lead them last year. Was one of the big bats.
I'm really surprised that Georgia got whipped like they did because they had come in.
They lost 9-1. I mean, it wasn't like a close game. I mean, LSU.
They was coming in, on a hot streak, and they had Charlie Condon They had some talent on
Yep.
that team, and they was getting good. And now they have to wait and see if they actually get in or not.
Georgia was kind of on that Super 8 or Super Host regional bubble to be in the top 8, losing opening round in the SEC
I
tournament.
still think they get in. What I was kind of going at
They
was,
get in the tournament. I'm saying, are they going to be in the top 8?
Are they
They'll
going to be in the hosting? Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. The hosting, I don't think they're going to be able to get it's.
But let's be honest. That win yesterday or today is LSU's 14th win in the SEC. I think that win gets them in. I think.
I will say this: if they go down there and they beat Kentucky, they're definitely in.
They're definitely in if they beat Kentucky tomorrow. And listen, LSU is LSU. When it comes to postseason, they expect to be at Omaha. That's just the way they are. They expect to have a chance every single year in baseball. That's who they are. And they have been coming on at the right time. If you're a Kentucky fan, do not count this LSU team out. I'm hoping that Coach has them ready for this matchup because it's going to be a tough one.
It is. And the second game, South Carolina beat Alabama. Alabama was kind of up and down all year. They had some great strides early in the year, and then they just it just felt like
this is two teams that was on the bubble as well. They both had 13 wins, South Carolina and Alabama. South Carolina was coming off of a sweep. They got swept by Tennessee last weekend.
South Carolina to me is just up and down, man. I don't know. It's just they're.
But they had 5 home runs today and just killed the ball, crushed the ball, and beat Alabama 10-5. That eliminates Alabama. Alabama was the 7 seed so the 6 and the 7 seed both went down. And the reason why that's significant is they're the top seeds in the opening round. 6, 7, 8, 9. So in the opening round, the 6 and the 7 are the 2 top seeds on Tuesday, and both of the top seeds went down. So you had the 11 seed winning and the 10 seed winning here. So
I'll say this. People don't realize Reeves that plays for South Carolina. He had 4 RBIs today.
Yeah.
They
killed the ball. When they crushed the ball, that's what they did.
They killed the ball. And then the third game of the
5 home run, something like that.
And the third game of today is at 5:55. It's getting ready to start here pretty quick. It's Florida and Vanderbilt. Now, this game is going to be the one that's going to be interesting because you got a Florida team that's coming into this tournament that's kind of on the bubble, and they're trying to play they're playing their way in.
Vandy's on the bubble too, so it's an important game.
Too. It's an important game for both of them. More so for Florida, I think, than it is for Vanderbilt because Florida's 28-26. Now, even if they lose today, I think Florida can still get in because they'll be over 500 because no team under 500 will get into the tournament.
Nope. But if they lose today, they're 28-27. They'll be 1 game over 500. Does that sneak them in?
That's the thing. You're going to be waiting for what till next week?
Sunday
to figure it out. Monday. I think it's Monday.
It might come out. It's either Sunday night or Monday.
It might be Sunday night. But either way, I would hate to lose that game and have to sit on my tail and try to figure out if you're going to be in or not.
These first games is elimination games. So the loser goes home in these games.
The fourth game
tonight is Mississippi State and Ole Miss.
Yeah, I think that will be a fun game because you got a team, Ole Miss, that's probably not going to get into the tournament after just winning the Omaha a couple years ago. They haven't really done great since they won the title.
Right, they won it in 22.
Yeah, they won 22. So they're going up against a hot Mississippi State team. Mississippi State's on a roll right now. They're playing really good baseball.
Yeah.
I will say this about Mississippi State. I was saying this yesterday to somebody. Mississippi State is my team to watch in this tournament because they're picking it up at the right time. I would not want to have to face them going forward because it's they're a dangerous squad, especially coming into the tournament. So
yeah, they played really good down the stretch as well. LSU is another one that played really good down the stretch. Of course, Tennessee fans come out of the woodwork and say, well, what about Tennessee? Well, Tennessee's played good all damn year.
All year.
Mississippi State and LSU didn't, and they really had to come on down the stretch to be in the position that they are in.
And Mississippi State has got a chance at hosting a regional now.
They do.
After not being
like they've really come on and played good ball. So these are important games. Like I said, these are elimination games. The winners move on to tomorrow, and then starting tomorrow, the final 8. It gets down to 8 schools.
Tomorrow
it's
starts
a double elimination.
Yeah.
Starting tomorrow, it's a double elimination.
And
so even if you lose tomorrow, you still get to go to a loser's bracket and try to continue on.
Yep.
But this first round is an elimination game.
Yep.
Opening round.
No, and unfortunately, somebody has to go home.
Yep. So 12 teams make it, and then it gets down to 8, and then they have a double elimination tournament, and the winner will be determined at 2:00 on Sunday. That's what time the game starts.
Yep.
So, all right. I want to get in a little bit about Kentucky women's basketball here with you. Georgia Moore put out something today. I got to talk about her a little bit. She said that she is from Australia, by the way. She is not American. She's from Australia. And she said that her grandfather raised her around horse racing. And her grandfather and mother have both been to the States and been to like Lexington and the Derbies and stuff like that. But Georgia Moore has still not. She's never been to Lexington. And she put out word today that she's excited about being able to, that her grandfather and her mother have told her how beautiful the horse parks and all the thoroughbred stuff is and the farms and stuff. And she put out word today just talking about she can't wait till July to see how beautiful Lexington is. And I thought that was a pretty cool thing for a girl from Australia. You know what I mean? Like, you don't think of a girl from
it's kind of neat. Yeah.
A girl from Australia, you don't think would even know or think anything about horse racing.
No.
You know what I mean? So it was just kind of a neat story. I thought I'd throw that in there. But John, I wanted to run through SEC women's basketball. Most people know is a powerhouse. They've won the last 3 NCAA championships. South Carolina, 2 of them. LSU, 1 of them. In the last 3 years. You've got South Carolina team that has everybody back except for Camila Cardoso.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a Texas team coming in that's absolutely loaded. You've got an LSU team that's got Flau'jae Johnson. Where Kenny Brooks has done an excellent job with this roster. Georgia Moore is a former All-American. She is projected as a top 5 pick in next year's WNBA draft. He's brought in size 6'7", 6'5", 6'4", 6'3". He's brought in a 6'2" guard that can shoot 66 or 40% from the 3-point line.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia Moore's averaged almost 19 points and 6.5 assists. I wanted to ask you, where do you see this Kentucky team landing in the pecking order in the SEC in women's basketball next year?
I think they can land in the top 6. South Carolina's going to be there. LSU is going to be there. You're going to probably have Texas is going to be in there.
You got to add Texas to that. Those three are the top, and you can't forget about Oklahoma, because Oklahoma landed the Oregon State big girl, the Beers, or I don't know how she pronounces her name, but
Reagan Beers, yeah. And then you got Tennessee with their new coach Caldwell from Marshall. It'd be interesting to see
between Brooks and Caldwell with Tennessee. It's going to be interesting to see what that dynamic's going to be like, and if Kentucky can kind of do better.
And then you got teams like Texas A&M that at times was good this year. Alabama, Georgia, will be some better. But I think Kentucky will be over those. The biggest question mark,
Mississippi State, the guy down there, Purcell's, he's doing a good job, and he's picked up some transfers.
I'll say this. Is this Mike Neighbors' last year at Arkansas?
Maybe.
He lost a ton of his recruiting class, or not his recruiting class, he lost a lot out for transfers. Arkansas fans are getting kind of.
Arkansas lost a lot transfer wise. Yeah.
And they're getting very impatient with him down there in Arkansas. And
I'm going to throw out a name here with SEC women's basketball that anybody who knows anything about women's basketball, Texas's coach is Vic Schaefer.
Yeah.
He was formerly at Mississippi State. He got Mississippi State to the finals twice.
Yep.
Vic Schaefer's a hell of a coach, and Texas is coming. Oklahoma with Beers is coming. I mean,
it's going to be a new age in the SEC.
The women's basketball in the SEC's already been fantastic. Now you're bringing in two teams that are probably going to be top 20 teams. And I mean, Texas is going to be a top 5, top 3 team. Okay.
And I've seen some polls that said Kentucky wouldn't be in there. I think they'll be there. I just don't think they're going to be as high as everybody thinks they're going to be. They're probably going to be 23rd or 22nd in my opinion. It's going to take time.
I think they're somewhere. They're going to be in the 20 to 25 range probably.
It's just going to take Brooks a couple months.
I'm going to be honest with you. They might start the season in that first or second out position.
Yeah. But by the time season rolls around, they're going to be competitive. They're going to be, they're going to have a good schedule. Brooks is going to have them playing ball when it matters, and that's.
I'll tell you what I'm looking so forward to and looking forward to covering is this. I think I'm really going to love the way Brooks is planning on playing, and the way he kind of has a system, kind of like what Pope everybody's talked about or whatever. But Brooks, he likes size. And he likes these girls that are 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", long, can block shots. And he plays inside out. All right. And he likes size and shooters. They feed the post and cross, kick it out for 3-pointers and things like that when it's not there on the inside. And I think he brought some of his own players, own recruits, brought in a couple of really good guards, transfer guards from Charlotte, from Obi is her last name, Jordan Obi. Trying to think where she played. Penn, maybe I think it was Penn, I believe.
It was, I believe.
But we're talking about guards who average 17, 18, 15 points a game. And Like, I think this team is going to be fun to watch. They're going to be full of shooters. They're going to have post players. They're going to be long, athletic on defense, make people shoot over top of them, grab a lot of boards. It's going to be a fun season. And, John, I'm kind of with you. I think they're going to be in that 5 to 7 range in the SEC. I think 5 might catch them. You know,
and maybe in some of those games they pull an upset or two.
Yeah,
maybe.
Well, I mean, listen, if you're in the 5 or 6 range in the SEC women's, you're a pretty damn good team. You're gonna be top 25 team.
Yeah.
I mean,
now
in women's college basketball,
in men's, you're probably not going to be. That's just because there's so many other better programs out there that are ahead of you.
I mean, I agree with you on that. But, on the women's side here, the SEC, I can't wait to watch them. I can't wait to cover them. Can't wait to be there and for the season to start. It's going to be so much fun. I am credentialed Kentucky women's basketball media, and it's just going to be a great time covering them. Hopefully, we can get you to a game or two or a few games this year as well. It would be great, but I look forward to covering them, and I can't wait to watch them play. Georgia Moore is a Kenny Brooks gal. She's from Australia. I said that earlier. When she got here in 2020 is when COVID happened. Mm-hmm. And Australia, I don't know if most people probably don't know this, but Australia completely shut down. Flights, everything. They had you couldn't get in or out to their country.
Communication, nothing.
Nation, nothing. Like, they completely shut. And they actually had one of the least amounts of COVID infestations in any country because they completely shut down everything, flights and everything. You couldn't get in or out of the country. And they done it for it was like a year and a half or something. And the reason why I bring this up is because Georgia Moore came over and she literally could not go home for over 2 years. And she was in a different country, never been to America. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because Kenny Brooks took her in like he was her dad. And Georgia Moore would have been a top 10 pick in the WNBA draft last month. She passed it up to follow Kenny Brooks to Kentucky because she wants a chance to play in the SEC.
That says a lot.
In the best women's basketball conference in the world, college basketball. She wants a chance. Who we're talking about an All-American, a ACC All-American, Player of the Year, All-American type girl, and she was an All-American herself, and she passed up a chance. She's using a COVID year to come here 1 year, and she didn't have to do that. Mm-mm. She could have went to the WNBA as a top 10 pick, and she's coming to Kentucky for 1 year to follow Kenny Brooks. And she says that Kenny Brooks is like her dad, her American dad. So I had to bring that up. John, I'm going to talk about this real quick. I'm just going to make some points. If you guys are not paying attention, the NCAA Board of Directors voted today to pass this settlement. The Big 12 commissioners, Big 12 presidents voted today to pass this settlement. The other 4 power conferences, and yes, it's 4 because they're making the Pac-12 vote too, because these antitrust things goes back to 2016. So these players were Pac-12 players that they are representing. So all 5 power conferences have to vote on this.
Yeah.
This is happening, guys. There is going to be a settlement, going to be a little bit of protection. There's going to be a $20 million payout, NIL payout from the schools to the players every single year. It's happening. And there's huge groundbreaking changes coming to college basketball, to college football, to college sports. Period.
Overall.
Yeah. Huge. So if you are not paying attention to this, Ross, was it Dellinger? Is that how you say his last name?
I think so, Ross. Yeah.
He is a great one to pay attention to.
Yeah, he covers a lot. He covers a lot of the NCAA stuff, and
yes, and he is covering the fire out of this. He's doing a great job explaining it and everything. Look him up. He's doing a great job covering this. Had to throw that out there. All right, John. Before we get off the air here, I got to bring this up. You've been super excited about EA Sports College Football 2025. I am too. I'm just not going to lose my mind over it. I mean, myself, but I do want to play it, and it is going to be a great game, and I'm sure I'm going to have some fun with it. I'm sure. I'm not quite like you. Like, I'm not looking for. There's no way that I think that I'm going to sit here and play with every single 134 teams, just like I got to know what happens with this school and that school and this tradition and that. There's no way. I look, I'll be dead by the time I get to go through 134 teams. I mean, I just can't do it.
But I did hear today that the Lou Rosa Award would be in the game. That's for best kicker award. And you're seeing things kind of trickle out as it comes. There's little bits and pieces that are going to come out in the next couple of weeks.
July 19th. That's when the game comes out.
And
that's the release date.
For some, there's an early release. It depends on what kind of package you get with the thing.
There's some packages that you can buy that cost more for early release.
And I heard today now, this was from, I can't think of the guy. I was watching his live on Twitch. He works for Insider Gamer. He's an executive producer, something like that. And he said that
Twitch is probably going to lose their mind over this.
Yeah, and so he had mentioned something. He had went live and said he had a source that told him that the option quarterback, the option was going to be a major part in the game. Like I'm guessing the RPOs, the things, it's going to be a real big influence on this game. And he also said that if you're a 5-star recruit and you're a 3-star recruit, they'll play how they play in real life. Say you got a team of 5 stars going up against a bunch of 2 and 3 stars. He said you'll be able to tell the animations that are happening during the game like you would in real life.
Yeah.
And then he said that there's a lot of pass animations. There's a lot of catching animations. He said they've put a lot of work into this. He said, now it does have the Madden Frostbite engine, but at the end of it, though, he said that they're trying to make this the best game on the market. And I'm afraid what's going to happen is this game's going to be so good that people won't even get Madden. They'll forget even Madden exists. And I know that probably won't be the case, but there'll be some that play college football instead of Madden. And I'll be one of those because, see, here's the difference in college football and Madden that I tell people all the time. You get all the traditions, all the pageantry. You get the fans, the student sections, the rivalries. You don't get that in Madden. You don't get the student sections. You don't get – now you get some other things that are attached to it, but you don't get the traditions and the, rivalries, the Ohio State, Michigan State, which Ohio State was kind of PO'd the other day on the reveal because a Michigan guy, elbowed him to the ground on the reveal. Like there was really that amped up the rivalry a little bit because somebody, and to find out one of the guys that helped develop the game was a Michigan alum. So he must have put that in there just as a joke. But anyways, it should be fun. It's only coming out on the next gen consoles. It will not be on the PC. It's only coming out for PS5 and Xbox S series. So should be a fun game to play. If you want the smoke, I suggest you get on the train because I'm going to be
well, I can tell you 100% there is no chance that I'm going online to play against anybody. Not in a long time. Because the last time I picked up a controller and tried to play a football game, it was probably every bit of 20 years ago.
And you're not going to be embarrassed on social media.
There is no chance. There's no chance, John. No chance. I'm telling you right now.
But I will say
this game could be absolutely mind-blowing and can do everything and every play and have every animation, and it's great and it's going to look great. But I'm going to tell you right now, when I pick up a controller, it's going to look like a bunch of damn shit because I'm going to be fumbling the ball. I'm going to be, I'm going to be like, what the hell's wrong with you? Pick up the ball.
Oh, and I will say this they was on the actual website. They had said that they was going to have a loud meter on there, like for the fans. And I will say this, that I read this in an article. The whiteout at Penn State and the checkered kneeling for Tennessee will be in the game. But that will probably depend on like marquee games like Ohio State, Georgia, Tennessee, certain games like that. But what's going to be neat
right now, John, the last time I played a football game was probably like Madden 05 or something.
What's kind of neat for me is hearing Herb Street and Chris Fowler, because they said they went through a lot of different scenarios and a lot of different things to get this game to where it should be. And then you got David Pollock and you got Reese Davis and Jesse Palmer. And then you got
I look forward to, trying to play it. But I'm going to tell you right now, I grew up way different than what you guys are with this gaming stuff. Like, my controllers had like 4 buttons, okay? This shit nowadays, I don't even know. Like, you got
so what you're trying to say
I'm pretty sure to be great at gaming nowadays, you need to have JJ Weaver hands.
Yeah. So what you're trying to tell us is your father.
Y'all don't get that. He's got 6 fingers on a hand.
So what you're trying to say is your father time.
I mean, I don't like. I'm just telling you. For me personally, like I pick up these controllers nowadays, and there is buttons all over the damn place.
Yeah, it's a new age of kids, and another thing that I really want to kind of
in the hell.
One thing I kind of want to jump on now is the thing that I'm really going to love the most about this is that it's been gone for over a decade, and now you're going to have guys with names on the back of their jerseys. You're going to have the mascots. You're going to have – it's just going to feel – and, I say this because back when I was going to school, in grade school and high school, this was what you look forward to in the summer. Like you would get the game in July and you would play it all the way up until the end of the season because it was something to look forward to before the college football season and a game to play. And it just feels like your childhood's coming back to life again. And to me, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And you got to, and I laughed about it earlier today. Somebody had made a post said when July 29th, there's going to be an employee shortage July 19th, and there'll be a bunch of women that will be divorcing their men because they'll be sitting on the game.
I told you the other day, Twitter's going to be a ghost town. Everybody's going to be playing.
Oh,
there'll be cricket. There'll be tumbleweeds going through Twitter.
Yeah. and then I saw another post, like I was saying, that most of these women will lose their men's to these college football games. They'll be sitting on the system all weekend.
July 19th, y'all mark it down. I'm going to be on Twitter posting tumbleweeds blowing.
Oh goodness!
Guarantee it. I will almost guarantee it. I'll be there.
You'll be the only one there. I can tell you.
I probably will be. I'm gonna be doing the Clint Eastwood whistle.
Yeah, the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah, the whistle from the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yeah. That's what I'm gonna be doing. That's for sure. All right, I had to bring up the game. You've been talking about it. Listen, I'm gonna play it. I'm a huge college football fan. It's gonna be great to see all the pageantry and traditions and everything, and possibly play with a team and get good enough, for me anyway, to do anything remotely great with the game. Would be a challenge, but I will play it. And I understand why everybody, because it's been 12 years. This game has been in the makings for like 18 months. Maybe 2 years. It's been 18 months, I know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a long time, and I get why everybody's excited about it. I want to play it. I want to see it. I'm probably going to pick up a copy and play on the Xbox, probably.
You might lose your podcast guy. He might be gone. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he's going to be on Twitch playing.
Yeah. What I do? Yeah. Oh goodness. Great show, man. Right. Great show. Oh,
John's going to be on Twitch playing college football 25.
Oh, we do have like a thing to talk. July the 27th and 28th. I don't know if he's going to bring that up or not. The fanboys.
We'll be doing some kickoff for season 3 stuff with the fanboys, but it's still over 2 months away. So
yeah.
But yeah, we'll be doing some stuff with them with our season 3 kickoff. All right, man. We're going to wrap this up. I appreciate it, John. Again, guys, this was a recorded episode. So if you have been commenting for the last 75 minutes and nobody's responding, that's because this is a recorded episode. So, all right. We will see you on Sunday.
Somebody took Brad and pulled him away from the computer screen.
We'll see you on Sunday. We are going to do another baseball show with John on Sunday. John Roberts. We're going to kind of wrap up.
That was good. That was good, by the way. I watched it. It was really good Sunday. So,
yeah, John does a great job with the baseball stuff. He's a college baseball guy. Loves it. So we're going to wrap up the SEC tournament. Look forward to the host sites and everything for the NCAA tournament on Sunday and talk a whole lot about that. So we look forward to bringing you all about the road to Omaha on Sunday. College World Series. Here we come. I'd love to see the Cats get there, but we'll see.
Be nice.
That's a tough one. Yeah. All right. Y'all have a good night.